Hello everyone, myself Dr. Sonam Gupta, working as a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Today we are going to discuss a complex topic in web technology, which is servlet. So in this we will be covering the basics of servlet and how they are important and what they can do, the power of servlets in programming. Now, why we require to build the web pages dynamically? So, the web page, it is based on the data which is submitted to the user. For example, the result page from a search engine, any other order confirmations for the online store, or any other reservation sites for booking the tickets, etc. So, this web page is important. The web page is derived from the data which is changing frequently. That means the data is dynamic in nature. For this, to handle this dynamic nature, we need these web pages like weather reports, news headlines, e-commerce sites and all those things. Now, what does this web page do? This web page, they uses the information from the database or other server side sources. Like if we say about e-commerce site, then they use a servlet to build a particular web page which will list the current price and the availability of each of the items which are available for sale. Next is the server side Java, because we are having applets also, but big applets, they require a long download time. Because applets, they are applicable for small programs only. Small web applications that can be run on the client side, for only those things applets are suitable. See, what are applets? Basically, they are the server side programming only, but the thing is that if I want to call any web application from the server, then applet will come to the client, it will get downloaded at the client side and then it will get processed. So, for big applications, we cannot process applets. For small applications only, we can have these applets. So, applets do not have the access to all the system resources also, since they are not being processing at the server side, so they do not have access to all the resources. Server side Java, it involves problems that the applet face. So, various problems are there. First one, the code is executed on the server side and then only the results are sent to the client. Like if I work over applet, why applet is not proper? Because over a period of time, as and when I require it, I call any applet, it will be downloaded at the client side and then only it will work. Then servlets, they can access legacy applications and the data sources. So, this is a Java applet and Java servlet, how they are working. We are having a client browser which is requesting for any other web page, and we are having a Java applet and a HTTP server. So, whenever this particular browser will be requiring any data, it will go to this HTTP web server. From that server, applet will be called, applet will be downloaded from the server to the client side and then it will be running at the client side. So, again I have to make a request, again the same process will happen. So, over the network, applet will come to the client side and then it will work. Whereas, if I talk about servlet, in servlet, the client, it will request for the data from the web server. Web server will go to the servlet container to call the servlet, then the servlet and the JSP. Because if I write a JSP program, then for the first time that JSP will be converted into servlet, and after that, if again I make the same request, then that servlet will only work. So, every time this process is going to happen. So, servlet and JSP, they are running at the server side only. Whole processing is being done at the side, only the result, only the response is being sent back to the client. So, this is the main difference between applet and the servlet. Now, what are the advantages of servlet? First one is the efficiency. No doubt, it is more efficient in nature because it uses lightweight Java threads as opposed to individual processes. So, since we are using threads in it and that to lightweight threads, the processing will become faster and it will be more efficient. Next one is the persistency. Servlets, they remain in the memory. They can maintain state between the request as well. So they are persistent in nature. They will always remain in the memory until and unless they are removed from it. Next is portability. Since the servlets, they are written in Java and they are platform independent also, because servlets, since written in Java, they carry all the advantages of Java, or we can say all the functionalities that are in Java, those will be by default inculcated in this servlets as well. Next is robust, because error handling, garbage handling, memory leaks, these are not the thing in Java. And large class libraries, because we are having network, file, database, distributed, object components, security, much more files are available in these servlets. Extensibility. We can create new subclasses that suit our needs, like for inheritance, polymorphism, all the object oriented features, they are also extended in servlets. Security. It provides a security by the server as well as by the security manager as well. It eliminates the problems which are associated with executing CGI scripts and operating system, which is shell. It is powerful. So, servlets, they can directly talk to the web servers as well, and it facilitates database connectivity, spooling, session tracking, cookie managing also. It is more convenient in nature as well, because the parsing, decoding of the HTML form, reading from the data, HTTP headers, handling the data, it is much more easier if I talk about the servlets than any other processing system. So, servlets, they are very much useful for creating the web applications, because of many of the features of Java, they are also included in it. Security, extensibility, powerful, multi-threading, all these features are in it as well. Now, let's see these servlets in detail. The Java servlet, it is a server-side component and it takes a HTTP request from the client. It will handle that request from the client, take that request to the database, so it can talk with the database. If a Java Bean component is required, it will talk to that Java Bean component and respond back with the HTTP response. Or if another servlet is required to be called, then it will dispatch that particular request to other servlets or the JSP components. So, all the processing will be done at the servlet side only. Servlets, they are dynamically producing text-based HTML markup content, and along with this, the binary contents and the contents which are based on the client request. Next is again, what are the more things in it? So, a servlet component, it can delegate the request to its back entire, like in database management, like we can say RMI, EAI or any other enterprise information system like EIS. A servlet, it will be deployed as a middleware for all other web components such as JSP components. The servlet components, they are building block components and they always work with other components like Java Bean, databases, EJB, web service components and all. Like a servlet component, we cannot say it is a distributed component as well, because like suppose first a request is sent to any servlet. That servlet will process the request, it will see that whether it is able to handle that request or not. If it is not able to handle that request, it will get to another servlet to complete that request, to another database, to another enterprise bean, etc., to whatever it is required. This is the execution of a Java servlet. We are having a web browser, that is the client side, server side, web server, and the request and response to the servlet. So basically what is happening, client is sending the request to this web server. After that, the web server is seeing that what is the request, how that request is to be processed, and that request is sent to the servlet. Servlet will do all the processing, send the response back to this server, and the server will send the response back to the browser, or we can say to the client. Next is the applications of Java servlets, where these servlets are required and where these servlets are useful. First one, building a e-commerce storefront. So servlet, they build an online catalog which is based on the contents of the database. The data which is given to the database, according to that database only, it will work. The customer, it will place an order and that order will be processed by any other servlet. Servlets as wrappers for the legacy systems, and then servlets interact with the EJB applications to complete all its requests. Now, what are the supporting environment for Java servlet? So, a Java servlet, it is supported by its servlet container. There is an Apache Tomcat server as well, which is the official reference implementation of the servlet containers, which is supporting servlets and JSP. How these web servers are configured, because if I am using a server, a configuration is required. How this configuration can be done? For that, we are having an XML format file which is known as servlet.xml. This particular file is used to control and configure the behavior and setting of the Tomcat server which is required to run the servlet, because it is a server-side application. To run a server-side application on my particular system, I need to create a server as well. I need a server where all these configurations can be handled. For that, we need all these configurations. This particular file is located in the conf subdirectory of the Tomcat installation directory. So, for this, how this configuration will be done? We will reset the server port number where the servlet class or any other component, it will listen for the request. So, that port number is required where that request will be handled. Then we will turn on the servlet reloading so that we do not need to reload and recompile the servlet again and again. These are various alternatives of servlet. First one is the CGI. CGI, as we know, it stands for Common Gateway Interface. So, new process for every new CGI request, it will be done. But the problem with CGI, that is Common Gateway Interface, is that it is having slow response time. If a CGI program terminates before responding to the web server, then the browser will just wait for the response time until its time gets out. There will be no way out how you can be away from this particular situation if we are using CGI, because the response time is very slow. And to come out of it, we need a timeout as well. There are various proprietary APIs. First one, NSAPI, Netscape Server API. ISAPI, which is IIS Server API, these are the dynamic link libraries. As we have discussed JavaScript also, so there is server-side JavaScript available also. We embed JavaScript into a pre-compiled HTML pages and it only will support few servers will support it. So, the better solution for all these things is Java Servlet. Now, CGI and Java Server technology. This is the CGI server, HTTP server, various clients are connected to it. Here, each of the CGI processes there, we are having multiple CGI process and each will own its own resources. So, multiple resources are required to handle it. If I talk about servlet, so the server is connected to the servlet and in servlet, we are having a single resource, single process. in that single process, multiple threads are running, 1, 2, 3. These 3 threads are running in a shared memory space. If they are working in a shared memory space, that means they are sharing the resources also. So this is the basic difference between CGI and servlet, and why we are saying that servlet are important and servlets are faster in nature. To make a Java servlet, 2 packages are required. First one, it is javax.servlet. It contains generic interfaces and classes that are implemented and extended by the servlets. And javax.servlet.http, it contains the classes that are extended while creating HTTP specific servlets. So the servlet architecture, it is the interface of javax.servlet.servlet. It provides the framework for all the servlets, and it also provides 5 basic methods which are required: init, service, destroy, get servlet configuration and get servlet information. These are the 5 basic methods which are required, and these are required to start a server, stop the server, get the servlet configurations, get the information about the servlet. So they play an important role in it. This is the complete architecture. Interface, Java servlet.servlet. Functions that are included: init, get servlet config, service, get service info, destroy. Interface is javax.io.serializable. Interface javax.servlet.servlet config. Get init parameter, get servlet parameter, get servlet context, get init parameter names and get servlet name. Similarly, we are having javax.servlet.generic servlet. The functions which are included in it are init, get servlet config, service, get servlet info, destroy, get init parameter, get servlet context, get init parameter name, get servlet name and the log file. And if I talk about javax.servlet.http.http servlet, then the functions are do delete, do get, do options, do post, do put, do trace, do last modified, service, and this is the basic servlet. So these are all the functions and the interfaces which are provided in this framework. Now let's see what is generic servlet and what is HTTP servlet. HTTP servlet, it is extended form of generic servlet. Generic servlet methods, they have been defined inside an abstract methods. The 2 objects that this service method will receive from it will be servlet request and servlet response. Servlet request object, it holds the information that is being sent to the servlet, and servlet response, it holds the data that is being sent back to the client. Life cycle of a servlet, it is basically more or less like an applet. Init, start, paint, stop and destroy. This was the life cycle of an applet. Similarly, servlet will also operate in a request response mode. So it loads the servlet when it is first requested. Then it will call the init method. It will handle any number of requests by calling the servlet service method. While shutting down call each servlet, it will call the destroy method. Same is the life cycle. It will be called by first time invocation or set by web.xml configuration. Init function will be called, then the service function will be called, and then the destroy. So this will mark the end of that servlet. For the init method, it requests for the servlet which is received by the servlet engine. Check to see if the servlet is already loaded. If not, then it will call it, and after that servlet is loaded, it will call the service function also, and it will takes the method servlet config object as the parameter, and those parameters will be passed to it. Similarly, service, it will handle all the requests which will be sent by the client, and it will be used by extending the generic servlet classes, and they are required to operate in HTTP environment. Various methods that it will use is HTTP servlet response, HTTP servlet request. Then finally the destroy. Initializations will be received, service will be done, destroy, it will unload the servlet that was being used.